Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. You know, I'm the brother Iwalam from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp. I'm back with another lesson. You know, through the Spirit, I was just thinking about, everything going on over there in Chicago, dealing with how, Esau raided Jake over there. Not the Northern Kingdom, but the Southern Kingdom Jakes, so-called black people. For a minute when Esau was, raiding, the Northern Kingdom, they were laughing. I'm going to call ICE, whenever, Jake, try to get on the Northern Kingdom, I'm going to call ICE. Come get your ass, but nonetheless, now Esau Edom, is attacking the Southern Kingdom too, man. But that really goes into Bible prophecy, dealing with, how, Esau come against the Lord's people, the dragon. That's Revelation, the 12th chapter. I'm gonna get these scriptures, Lord willing, but Esau Edom, is coming against the tribes, the ones that he know are the Lord's chosen. So at the end of the day, prophecy is what's going to prevail. You see? But this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 and verse 1, and it says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." You see? He says, Salakia. He said, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy." In the ears of my people. All right, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, because these words has been going out, all right, for years, man. Beginning with, Rabbi Abba Bivens, and then the men that he taught to our apostles and elders up until this point now. These words has been going out, and Jake made, light of the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. They made void of the law of the Lord, So when our people have scoffed and mocked, nothing had happened right then and there. All right, but now you see, things happening. All right, you see Esau Edom showing that them horns. All right, because it was only so long that the devil would be able to hide himself. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai made Esau bare, man. So now that he's been exposed, on a whole nother level, hey, might as well come down with the sword. Ain't nothing to lose. He's got an agenda to establish. All right. So it's like, it's like F it all. You see? It says, verse 2, "And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." All right, they are faithful and true. So, hey, man, pursuant to Romans, the 3rd chapter and the 3rd verse, "For what if some did not believe? Shall the unbelief of the Most High make the faith? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect?" It says, God forbid. Because these people, they're not gonna believe anyway because they're wicked. All right, but their unbelief is not gonna affect the prophecies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai from coming to pass. See, it says, verse 3, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." Incredulity going into unbelief. So don't let their unbelief trouble you. All right. Because at the end of the day, the unbelievers, those that don't believe, they're going to die in their incredulity, like it says. It says, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." Okay? So you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, all right, that made Esau, your state, that trusted in the serpent, all right, this is the same man that's going to stab you in the back, And we're getting ready to see, things that have been preached and said through the Spirit, probably how about Shem Shai come to pass. All right, because nobody likes the Israelites, but for one thing, you're gonna see that Yahweh Shem Shai through his prophets, has been warning you. You see, so let's get these scriptures concerning the war on the tribes, because the war on the tribes will intensify. Revelation, the 12th chapter, in verse I'm gonna get straight to the point where it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, right here. Revelation chapter 12. In verse 17. And it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High, and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. You see? So the woman represents Israel. All right, go to Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 1, where it says, I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So the Lord likens the nation of Israel to a woman, to his woman. So the dragon is going to be wroth with the woman, the nation of Israel. All right, but he's ultimately going to make war with the remnant of her seed, which is the elect. So are those that are of the elect, he's gonna come after them. But the point being is that it don't matter whether you're a so-called Latino, Native American, or a black person. All right, if you're an Israelite, Esau, Edom is gonna make war with you. The time of game playing, is over with. The serpent don't care. If you so-called, call yourself a Christian, if you call yourself a Muslim, or if you call yourself a Buddhist or whatever. All right, if you are of the seed of Jacob, Esau, Edom wants to kill you. Because what they'll try to do is they'll try to disassociate themselves from being an Israelite, thinking that that's gonna stop Esau from coming after them. But really, Esau, he wants to do away with the whole nation of Israel. You see? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 16. So at the end of the day, it's about really what side are you on? Whose side are you on? Are you on the Lord's side, or are you on Esau's side, the devil? Okay? And it's better you be on the Lord's side, because you want to be on the winning side. All right. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and verse 68. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. Right? The wrath of the serpent, the wrath of the dragon. All right, the dragon was wroth with the women. Because Esau, Edom, he's gonna send those troops into these cities, man. What did DJT say? He said, all right, these cities will be used as training grounds for the military, man. So when Esau speak, they speak with a slithering tongue. So he said these cities will be used as training grounds for the city, for the military, Salaki. These cities are primarily where Jake stay at. Esau is ready to draw blood, man. All right, this devil, his blessing is the sword. He was blessed with the sword, so a person with the sword is going to use it. I'm not going to let that thing rest, okay? But it says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you idle with things offered unto idols, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. Right. So like I said earlier, just because you don't associate yourself with being an Israelite, that don't make you safe. Because if anything, you want to repent and come back to the Lord so that you have that hedge of protection. But a lot of our people, they're going to consent unto Esau. All right, they're going to bow the knee to the devil. They're going to take the chip so that they can live, so that they can be in good standing with the enemy, man. All right, but it said that they that consent unto them shall be had into derision. Showing you that the only winning side is the side of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. All right, it says, verse 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. So that ties in Revelation, the 12th chapter, with how the dragon was wroth with the woman. All right, but it said that there shall be an insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Because Esau, Edom knows who we are. He knows that we're the chosen people, and he knows that as long as we're here, as long as we're here, we have the birthright. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to, get that birthright back. All right, these Edomites, that their forefather, are the original man Esau. He sold his birthright, all right, to for food, man. And then Isaac blessed Jacob with the blessing. When you read the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, or it goes into that, but Esau, Edom, ever since has had a perpetual hatred against, the nation of Israel. All right. It says, verse 70, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. They shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. See? Who are those that fear the Lord? The Israelites. So keep thinking that this man is your friend. Keep thinking that a so-called white man, is here for your benefit. Because when it's all said and done, like it says in the book of Sirach, the 12th chapter, never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So Esau, Edom, he'll put on a suit and a tie, or do that fake smirk that every Edomite does, that smile, that dreaded smile that every Edomite does. They'll do that, and then that's in a way, that's some kind of enchantment that Esau do, that get Jake thinking that they're the most upright people ever, man. That stupid smirk, but they'll do that smile, and then you think everything is okay. But he said never trust that enemy, because in the back of his mind he's thinking this nigger here. All right, and that attitude of Esau, it never left. Matter of fact, we can get there real quick after this right here. It says verse 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. You see? So, these things are getting ready to happen even more. They're happening right now. See, they're happening right now. You can't say that this Bible ain't true. The so-called white man is going after the tribes. All right, now let's who the tribes are. For you Jakes out there talking about, the so-called Latinos and the so-called Native Americans are not Israelites. All right, you seeing prophecies come to pass to where, the Israelites are being persecuted. What more can you say? And Jacob is being oppressed together. Jeremiah 50 and 33. We can get that real quick. All right, the tribes are oppressed together. And then you still got, you still got some of those Northern Kingdom tribes, so-called Latinos, you know, and those among the Native Americans too, that believe that they're so-called white, man. You know, and they're the ones that's going to get the rudest awakening. Those that think that they're white, so they look down upon so-called black people. You know, but that's cool because, you know, your awakening is going to be the worst. Okay? Jeremiah 50 and verse 33, and it says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go." So the Edomites don't like us, you know, but they don't want to let us go. That's the devil for you, man. Okay? But it said that the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, man. Showing you what? That the so-called Latinos and Native Americans and the so-called black people, alright, are the same people, man. Are the same tribe. Or like the same nation. You know? Because you had this division, but the Lord's breaking that is breaking that division. You know? So let's go to Amos. Amos chapter 1, verse 11. And it says, "Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever." Okay? So he kept his wrath forever. Going back to the book of Genesis 27, where Esau said, "The days of mourning my father is at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob." You see? So that same energy that the man Esau had, that same spirit, is in his descendants today. His descendants being the so-called white people. Alright? The so-called Caucasian race. Alright? They're the descendants of Esau, Edom. You know, and, you know, they hold that hatred, you know, to kill Jacob, man. You know? But the scriptures give you game, man. They put you on game on who your enemies are, alright, and what they want to do to you. You know? They said that he had a perpetual hatred. You know, he said he kept his wrath forever. It says, "But I will send fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Bozrah." Okay? So, and that's talking about America. Because that fire, that nuclear fire, you know, is going to devour America, Babylon the Great. You know? So, yeah, man, the war on the tribes will intensify. You know, and when it's all said and done, as it is written in Ezekiel 33, in verse 33, "And then shall they know that a prophet have been among them, when these things come to pass," man. Because best believe those Israelites getting raided and these Israelites getting taken, they saw the prophets out there. They saw the men of the Lord. They heard the admonishment of the Lord, man. You know, so you know, at the end of the day, it's nothing. You know, the most we can do is keep preaching, you know, and watch prophecy. You know, Yahweh Shem Yahushai is gonna do the rest. You know, where we're seeing what the prophets of old have saw, you know, where, you know, the troops were coming in and taking in our people, man. And we can't feel pity, you know, for Jake. Although, you know, when you see these things, you're going to be like, damn, you know. But, you know, Jake has been warned. So we really can't feel pity for a lot of our people. You know, Jeremiah, when he first, the Lord told him to go preach to our people, you know, he was sincerely, you know, pleading for Jake, you know. But what did Jake do? They tried to dig a pit for his soul. You know, and then that's when he pretty much said, you know, shall evil be recompensed for good? Let me get that real quick and Lord willing, that'll be it for the lesson. Shall evil be recompensed for good? This is when Jeremiah had enough. Jeremiah 18:20, and it says, start from 19, and it says, give heed to me, O Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, and hearken to the voice of them that contend with me. Shall evil be recompensed for good? For they have digged a pit for my soul. Remember that I stood before thee to speak good for them, and to turn away thy wrath from them. See? So Jeremiah, you know, he was in the spirit of, you know, have mercy upon our people, Lord. You know? Verse 21, therefore deliver up their children to the famine, and pour out their blood by the force of the sword, and let their wives be bereaved of their children, and be widows, and let their men be put to death, let the young men be slain by the sword in battle. You see? And these are the same judgments getting ready to happen now, because, you know, the so-called white man Esau, you know, he's coming in like that flood, man. You know? A lot of these YNs and a lot of these Jakes, they're gonna be sent off to war, man. You know, so you're gonna have a lot of single mothers, you know, here in America, because they're not gonna have any husbands, because their husband's gonna go out to war and die in the war. Verse 22, let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them. Is this not what ICE is doing? Are they not breaking into these houses and then early in the morning you hear cries coming out of there? You know, taking children, you know, elderly men and women out of the houses. For they have digged a pit to take me, and hid snares for my feet. Yet, Lord, thou knowest all their counsel against me to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight. Let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger. You see? So, you know, in Jeremiah's time, they want to kill Jeremiah. You know, in our time, you best believe they want to come after us. You know? So their way of coming after us as of the moment is verbal. You know, fuck them niggas. You know, I can't wait for them Hebrew Israelites, you know, to be taken off the streets. Yeah, Jake be saying stuff like this. You know? And you best believe when Esau come after us, they're going to be cheering Esau on. You know, not knowing that Esau coming for them too. You know? And their judgment going to be worse. Right? Esau going to do worse to them. Because, hey, how about Shem Yahushai is going to be with his servants? You know, of course, there's going to be those that get beheaded for the word, for the testimony of the Lord. All right? But for the most part, the Lord's going to take care of his elect. All right, for you niggas out there that think everything is sweet, you know, that, you know, Esau ain't gonna do. No, Esau gonna do. The Lord gonna put the spirit on Esau, all right, because the Lord is in control. You see, he's gonna put the spirit on the devil to torture you, man, to do unimaginable things to you and your children. And this is why we hearken so much on repenting, man. All right, but once again, the most we can do is preach this word, you know, and keep it pushing. You see, but Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect here in this word and truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I say shalom.